So, job done for Bayern then, winning 4-2 against Flamengo. I've watched this one in the company of Rafa Honigstein, Shay Given and Cleverson. Firstly, condolences, Cleverson. I know you were hoping that your former club could do something special tonight against Bayern. It wasn't to be, but in the end, did Bayern deserve it, really? Did their class just show?
Yeah, the Bayern is too much strong from Flamengo. No, I think Flamengo, they tried to get it back in the game with the goal to Gerson, also the penalty kick with Jorginho, but the Bayern dominate the game the most opportune. No? I think the mistakes Flamengo's given a game is fell the goal.
2-0, Rafa. You were feet up when we were watching in the other room. You got a little bit more tense as the evening went on, not as comfortable as you'd have liked, but did you see signs of progression, things that you liked from Bayern in the end?
Yeah, I think ultimately Bayern's good pressing won them the game, created chances and managed to keep Flamengo away from their goal most of the time. Even when you thought the comeback might be on in the second half, they didn't really create anything after taking the penalty, which was a bit indicative of the game. Every time Bayern were two goals up, they took their foot off the gas a little bit. Then Flamengo came back in. Then Bayern started playing again, and in the end, their quality was just too much. But I think there were some good bits, but also some worrying signs that maybe the defence is still not 100% right, that they'll have to address for the PSG game, for sure.
It was something that you pointed out pre-match, wasn't it? It was a defence that hadn't played together before. Disappointing, of course, for Flamengo, but was it just what Rafa said there, that quality in the end shone through for the German side?
Yeah, I think they were too good, too strong. Of course, the Jorginho penalty got them back to 3-2, and then it's like, can they create anything? But they just didn't. They sort of huffed and puffed, but I think Bayern were comfortable. And then, of course, when you got Harry Kane at the other side of the pitch, you know, he's
not bad, is he?
He's not bad. That guy, he knows where the back of the net is. But his second goal, especially when we look at it in a bit, like he doesn't look up. The goal doesn't move. The keeper doesn't move. It's a brilliant finish. And 4-2, it's game over.
I tell you what, before we see those goals, shall we hear from him? Harry Kane scored goals 40 and 41 for the season this evening for Bayern Munich. He has been speaking to Anita Jones.
Harry, congratulations. One thing we can count on, you get given a half chance, you're going to take it. You got the brace today. You make it look so easy. How difficult was that touch of the second goal?
Yeah, I know. It was a nice ball by Josh. I weren't sure if he saw it, and he played a nice little disguise pass. And I talk a lot about the first touch. It sets up the goal, and I was able to go both ways. And I thought front post was the better option, and thankfully it worked off.
In terms of today, a word on the character that your team showed, because when it went to 3-2 through that penalty, they applied a lot of pressure, but you got the job done.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, we're playing against a really good side, you know, difficult conditions, really hot. And I thought we played well for large spells of the game, but every time we felt like we got away, they kind of clawed their way back and made it difficult, especially in the second half. So the fourth goal was an important goal for us, just to ease the nerves for the last 10 minutes or so. And then from there, we controlled it well.
How excited are you at the prospect of knocking out the Champions League winners PSG in just under a week in Atlanta?
It's going to be another tough game. You know, PSG have had an amazing season. We played them earlier in the year and we come out on top. So, you know, we have to, you know, try and use that energy, that feeling in this game. We know it'll be difficult. But look, we feel like we can beat anyone when we're at our level. We've shown that in the tournament so far. And yeah, it's going to be another tough game. We're going to have to recover well and get ready for it.
Huge European clash that we're all looking forward to. Thank you and congratulations, Harry.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, reminder, in case you missed it, they're going to be facing PSG on Saturday. We'll preview that one very shortly. But let's reflect on just what happened and how this bumper game did unfold. And it took just 6 minutes for Bayern to take the lead, and it was an own goal. Flamengo kind of causing their own downfall here.
Yeah, it's unfortunately those games you cannot make those mistakes, no? And then unfortunately, Eric on that situation, he just flicked the ball, and then, you know, Bayern is a danger on a set piece, no? It's a great ball, and then after that, Flamengo start to give away the ball, and then already like Roy Keane scored the second goal.
Yeah, really disappointing evening for Pulgar, of course. He went off in the first half as well after injuring himself, challenging Harry Kane. And Rafa, you, as I said, had your feet up. You were quite excited after 9 minutes when Harry Kane made it 2-0.
Yeah, and what I love about this is Upamecano. Look how far away from his own goal. He's the centre-back. He wins the ball, what, 40 metres into the opposition half, and then it's a wonderful finish that does get deflection that helps it on the way. But the confidence that Harry Kane has just to take a shot with his weaker foot from quite a distance, trusting his technique, that makes the goal. Because maybe if you are a different type of striker. You're on your weaker foot. You think, okay, where should I put the ball in? Where are my other teammates? But he knows he can score also from that distance, and with a bit of help, great finish.
At that point, it could have all gone very wrong for Flamengo, but we've said it a lot. The Brazilian sides have shown such spirit, such character in this tournament, and they did pull a goal back before half-time.
They did, and it's a brilliant strike, isn't it, from Gerson, just arrives into the box. You know, so like a rocket past Man United. People ask the question, what's Neuer doing? But it's actually a blink of an eye. It's past you. I've been in that position myself. You think, wow, can I get my hands up? You just can't. Kelly is so quick. It's so fast. You can see Neuer's reaction. It's just nothing much you can do. It's just the pure power from Gerson. It's a fantastic strike. You see in the half volley, and really it's a blur past Man United. And you think it's a lifeline for them then?
It's not like you stick up for a goalkeeper, Shay.
Well, yeah, you have to, don't you? Why not?
At that point, it looked like it was going to be an interesting second half, but then Flamengo conceded at pretty much the worst possible time, just before the half-time whistle went.
Yeah, when Flamengo starts to think back in the game, like to have a little bit more the ball, and then Bayern, they get it close. But one thing, like no one step on the ball. I think it's Eric Pulgar again, doesn't step on the ball and then leave it the guy from Bayern just a choice which side he's shooting the goal, and of course Horst try to go the other side, balls go another way. It's a brilliant goal, brilliant goal. They scored in a perfect moment.
Yeah, it was the perfect moment, wasn't it, Rafa? This will have really changed the team talk for both managers.
Yeah, and Bayern was struggling a little bit in that spell. That was probably the best we saw from the Brazilians just before half-time. They created chances. Bayern looked a little bit unsure. You could see sometimes the gaps between midfield and defence were beginning to open up. But that game again cooled down things, and of course, I think what we might hear from companies saying, look, don't stop playing. You know, whenever we stop playing, we let them back in. Then that's when we put ourselves under pressure. If we just keep the intensity high, keep pressing, and then use our possession game to cool down the temperature of the game and to keep them more quiet, that's when we get on top. And whenever Bayern just faded a little bit, they were there. But in the end, Bayern didn't fade enough and were able to assert themselves every time at the right moment, just about to see us through.
Well, the first goal of the second half was always going to be important, and Kleberson, it went to Flamengo from the penalty spot.
Yeah, it's Flamengo go back in the second half, I think a little bit better in terms like to get away the pressure. Not start like so good, but they have a chance on a penalty here now. I think that's one like his jump, his turn, his face, and then the referee give it a penalty
arguments,
kick.
really,
yeah,
can he?
Yeah. And then Jorginho is like an expert on a penalty kick. He just like compose and finish it. Yeah,
in terms of if you get a penalty, there aren't too many players you'd rather have on your team.
No, he's
than
very
Jorginho,
calm.
are there?
He's very cool, and you're up against one of the best goalkeepers in world football, Manuel Neuer. He's a huge presence in the goal, but Jorginho didn't blink. He thought, I've got this. You know, big Flamengo crowd behind the goal as well. They were buzzing. 3-2, and you think, we got game on. Rafa was jumped off the sofa. He was getting a bit nervous at this point. But again, they sort of huffed and puffed after that. Didn't create too many clear-cut chances, but fantastic penalty from Jorginho.
And then the goal that really sealed it for Bayern was brilliant, wasn't it?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, you pay a lot of money for a centre-forward to score that kind of goal. You're a little bit under pressure. It's a game that doesn't allow you too many mistakes, and he just, not having had the most sort of impactful of games, is just there when it's necessary. The first touch to get it out of his feet is wonderful. He never looks up. He bends it into the corner without... This is all one fluid motion. From not being involved, not having too many touches, but having the kind of precision killer touch that you need from a centre-forward. It's what you want. It's what you need.
I think Vincent Kompany would be happy as well. Similar to Kane's first goal, the press from Bayern Munich as well. They want it high up the pitch. That creates the chance, and of course Harry Kane does the rest. But again, they latch on to Flamengo trying to play out, and they're all over them. Brilliant press from Bayern Munich, and as we said there, the goal doesn't move. Kane knows exactly where it is, and it's a brilliant finish. And
that's why they paid big money for him, because that is literally what he does, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a goal machine, isn't he? He really is. I mean, we said before the game, I'd like to see him higher up the pitch, and that's where he was, high up the pitch. He did drop deeper at times as well, but again, look at the press you mentioned before, Rafa. Fantastic press from Bayern Munich. And then the higher up you won the ball back, the closer you to the opposition goal. I mean, it's stating the obvious, but at the same time, I think Vincent Kompany will be really happy with how they press Flamengo today as well.
85 goals in 95 games for Bayern Munich. What a player. We knew he was a brilliant player, but the way he's made that move look so seamless and the way he's just carried on doing what he always does, score goals, in a different league is impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the way the Bayern are playing, it's amazing, you know.
Does it suit him, do you feel?
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like because they're a good team, no? They're a really good team.
Strikers
Just
tackle.
tackle when they get tired, you know. And then, that goal for Kane is it's a massive. No, look at the quality he has finishing there. It's a brilliant player.
Rafa, just how much do the Bayern Munich fans appreciate Harry Kane and what he's done? Because that record I just spoke of is pretty special.
A lot, of course. They admire him, they respect him, and I think it's beyond the Bayern Munich fans. He is somebody who has an impact in German football. I think German football as a whole is happy to have a true world-class striker like him. It reflects well on the league. It shows that the Bundesliga can attract this kind of talent, and everything he does, the way he carries himself on and off the pitch, I think has won him a lot of admiration, even from the non-Bayern fans, grudgingly so, but you can feel it that people respect him and appreciate for what he does.
32 years old now. Is he in his prime? Is this peak Harry Kane?
Well, he had a bit of stick, I think, after the Euros last summer because he looked a bit stiff, maybe looked a bit unfit.
He was carrying an injury.
He was carrying an injury, and I
wasn't he?
don't think that helped him at all because even England fans going he shouldn't be starting and stuff. But again, he's shown again this year for Bayern, of course, winning the Bundesliga. And in this tournament as well, he looks back to his best again, looks super fit again. And you know, you can't be carrying an injury going into a major tournament. That's probably the only downside he had when he was at Bayern. But again, he's an English captain and playing for Bayern Munich, a German club. There's all the politics involved as well. But if the fans in Germany have took him on board, it shows how good a job he's doing on the pitch as much as off the pitch.
Rafa, is he almost the difference for Bayern in these big games against the top teams, having a Harry Kane?
They need him to be the difference. They need him to score these kind of goals. In the Champions League, they came close, but defensively they made too many mistakes. You can't always score 4 goals. You need to sometimes be a little bit tight at the back. The downside to all this high pressing in the high line is that once you get past it, then there's a lot of space to exploit. And that's where Bayern have struggled. The problem is not scoring goals. If it's not Harry Kane, there's Olise, there's Jamal Musiala when he's fully fit. Gnabry's pitched in with goals. Sané had a okay season. It's what happens at the other side that's been the concern. But Harry Kane is, of course, meant to not just score the simple goals, in inverted commas, in the Bundesliga on the way to another title. He needs to score those big goals in the knockout games. And he got a bit of stick last year when people felt he wasn't quite there when it really mattered for Bayern. I think unfairly so, because he scored a lot of goals in knockouts as well. But this year, that was not the problem. He was there. He did his job. Bayern's downfall was elsewhere.
Has he almost grown into the season, would you say? Has he got better as the season went on?
I think he's been brilliant throughout the season. Remember, when he wanted to move to Bayern, it wasn't necessarily for the titles. Of course, he wanted to win a title, and going to Bayern gives you almost a guarantee that you're going to win something. But his main motivation was playing with better players and playing in a team that brings out more out of him. This was a player that had to toil under Mourinho and Conte really, really hard, often very isolated, still scoring amazing goals. But look at him now. It's much more enjoyable when you have players around you, when you have wide players who are going to help you, when you have players behind you, when you have also so much possession, you'll get chances and you improve as a player. And I think he is improving still as a player. People perhaps don't see it as much because they don't see it every week the way we do in Germany. But I think he's slowly but surely still adding more layers to his game.
Could be potentially very exciting.